Hello and welcome to the East Anglian Ghost Hunters, and today we're in the heart of the Suffolk countryside to visit a very interesting and sinister location, the site of several executions in the 17th century. Well, with that sort of history there's bound to be a ghost, or perhaps two, who knows?
What are you picking up here now, Paul?
Well, I can see there's a plaque there, Tina.
Yes.
And I really don't want to look at it yet.
No.
Because I'm getting the year 1700.
Oh,
my spirit guides have just said 1700.
Yes.
That's very significant.
Well, I hope it is, because I haven't seen the plaque yet.
Yeah.
The guy was hung here. Right. The murderer was hung here. Because I'm seeing a pair of legs dancing, you know?
Well, that's significant because it was an old saying, you know, dancing on the gibbet, because when you were hung, it wasn't a quick process like it was a few years ago, you know, in the 60s and that, but you could perhaps take 20 minutes to die, you know, slow strangulation, a terrible death, and they'd be kicking out like that.
That's what I'm seeing.
And they used to say, oh, he's dancing on the gibbet, dancing on the gallows.
Now see, so I don't want to get too confused, I must sort out what I'm getting. He was hung here. So why am I seeing two others hanging as well? But they're hung upside down.
Oh, really?
Over a beam.
Yes.
Two of them, but they're together. Now one was the Pillar of Society chap.
Yes.
I don't know who the other guy was. But the guy who had one of the murdered victims had just said, I didn't see it coming.
That's right.
He just didn't see it coming, he just said. And but it doesn't make sense to me, because they're hanging upside down somewhere, but not here.
Yeah.
Yes.
But I understand what that means, because no one knows why, but you said they didn't see it coming. Well, he sneaked up behind them with his axe, he killed both of them, and then for some reason he hung them from the beam.
There was a beam, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was a beam in the mill. The murder was committed in that direction at Leverham Mill. But no one knows why he did it, and he was caught just after, and he still had the axe in his hand. But so that's quite significant, obviously being hung upside down, and they didn't see it coming. Well, they had their backs to him. They were actually doing the accounts at the time.
Because at first I said, I'm coming to a murder location, and I couldn't work, you know, so that's sorted now.
Yes.
Yeah.
Excellent.
And I was just going to say, you said 1700.
Yeah.
It's just a year out, because the execution was 1699 in April.
Was it?
Yeah. That's really good.
That is really
Left him here, and that's why it became known as a gibbet, because what they used to do as a deterrent, they'd leave the body to literally rot, and the birds would pick at the eyes, and he'd either be in a cage or chains. And he was left here for years as a deterrent. People would walk along here and see him and think, oh God, you know, I don't want to end up like him. And that's why it acquired this sinister reputation afterwards, and people said it was haunted by him, and they'd seen strange lights in the woods nearby. And eventually what happened, it fell down, the corpse, and he's buried somewhere in this area, and there was a boulder, which was a marker, and there was this legend that if you kicked it, it screamed.
So what about his name? I said Bell.
Oh, yes.
Well, yeah.
Very close.
It was.
Yes.
You want to say, Tina?
It's Snell.
Snell.
Jonas Snell.
Snell Bell.
Yes, very close.
It was. I think we ought to go down and look at the site of the actual murder, if you want.
Yeah.
Yes, that's a good idea.
Yeah. We'll lead on, Paul.
Paul, we've walked up to the gibbet, and I'm just wondering whether you're getting any sensations here in this location.
Well, as I came along here, Tina, I picked up a mob sensation.
Did you?
Like a following. And I do feel they came down here. I feel the I want to say body. It's weird, he's not dead yet. The murderer was dragged along here. I want to say his body was dragged along here. That doesn't make sense, because he's still alive at this point. But I've got him being dragged along. I say body because I feel he was half dead anyway, for some reason.
No, it's interesting that you should use the word drag, isn't it?
It is, because he was literally dragged up the road there, and it acquired the name of Drag Arse Hill. He was dragged through here, and the mob, well, public execution, it was a celebration for people. It was a day out. They'd go there, they'd take their children, you know, watch the man hang, and they loved it. They would be selling food there, and oh, look at him, you know, look what's happening to him. And no, it was a big public event.
I've got to say one more thing. He knew it's the end. He was going to die. He gave up mentally. But until the very end, he denied it.
That's very significant because he did.
Did he?
He always denied it.
I didn't
always.
know. Well, I don't know any of it, do I? But it's just when the rope went round. It's not me. It's not me.
He still was denying it.
Right to the very end.
Well, he was caught with the axe, but he denied doing it right up to the end.
Interrupting you, I've just heard he was put on trial.
He was.
So it wasn't just a lynching, was it?
Oh no, it was a proper trial. It wasn't sort of mob justice. He wasn't just dragged up here like, straight after the murder and hung. No, there was a proper trial, and he was found guilty, and they ordered that he be taken up here and be executed, and then left to rot as a deterrent.
Because when I saw the mob, it feels like a lynching.
Yes.
Well, yeah, but there was a lot of hatred. For, like I said, they'd throw stuff at the condemned man or woman, and it was terrible. I mean, some people had their eyes knocked out. They'd throw bricks at them, dead animals. It was terrible.
Dreadful.
And so they even used to bring their children to these executions. It shows you how barbaric it was. So we're at the murder site. Paul, are you picking anything up?
Yeah, going back to those two hangings, the victims, I got them hanging upside down, like I said, but with white tunics on, or white shirts, or the old 17th century.
Well, that would fit because they were millers, and that would have been what they would have worn.
Not white.
Yeah.
Yes. Got dark trousers, but white tops,
Yes.
And they're hanging on the back of their legs over this beam.
That's how he did it.
That was.
Yes.
Well, that's how I see it, anyway.
Right.
And I've got a little girl here as well. She's watching us now, actually.
So she's not residual, she's here
no,
in visitation?
She's actually in visitation, yeah, from a few hundred years ago.
Really? Yes.
Whereabouts is she?
Well, she's over there. I just know, you've got to take my word for this. She's there somewhere. She's about 10 or 11, long dark brown hair, just watching us. But she was at the hanging.
Was she?
Yeah.
Does she have a name?
Now, I picked up Jane earlier on.
Yes.
And it didn't fit anywhere.
Yes.
I've got a Jane connection.
Yes.
I hesitate to say it's her name.
Yes.
But I've got a Jane connection with her. But she can come and go back from the spirit world as she likes.
So why did she come back then? Just because she loved this area?
Yeah, and to see us, I think.
Oh right, that's flattering, isn't it?
It does happen, we do get followed around by our family and friends, But she was at the hanging for sure. And she had family around here somewhere in the background.
Oh.
So she was at the hanging, a fair distance from the actual hanging itself, but her family were in the background. That's what I'm picking up.
So she watched the hanging then, is that what you're saying?
Well, she might not have watched it, but she was.
Because as I said before, when we were up at the wood, they used to take their children there because it was like a day out.
Yeah, she was there.
You can't imagine it.
I know, but they did.
No, she was there for definite. But like I said, her family lived in the background or behind the trees somewhere. Not necessarily to watch the hanging.
Yes.
But they lived somewhere back there. And, got the name Billy. Does that make any sense to you?
Not to me at the moment, no. But I mean, there's a lot of people lived at this property. I mean, it goes back 300 years, over 300 years.
And I'll tell you something else. I know they got axed or murdered with an axe.
Yeah.
But my legs feel like they've just been taken away.
Really?
Right.
So it's the speed of the murder, perhaps. Do you
maybe.
think?
I don't know how he did it. I know it's.
Or perhaps when he strung them up from the beam.
Yeah.
Yes.
But my legs have just literally gone whoosh.
Yes.
Well, it's like I said it back in the woods. I mean, they had their backs to him, and he just sneaked up.
But that's why he said I didn't see it coming.
Yeah. One interesting thing, in the 1840s, they found a load of skeletons in the grounds, and it's possibly there was a church in Leveringham during the Doomsday period, and it may have been on this site, but they didn't find any grave goods with the skeletons, so they couldn't date them. But so, should we go on to our final location?
Yep.
Yes.
So why don't you lead on, Paul? So Tina, we're in the parish church in Leveringham, the heart of the community. Paul's outside having a look round. But this was originally a priory built in the 12th century and dissolved under Henry VIII. And believe it or not, in the 18th century it was full of lovely Tudor monuments, and they decided just to rip them all out to build a road.
That's wicked. And you can probably imagine the congregation here on Sunday probably talking about this terrible thing that had happened in their village of Leveringham when Jonas Snell committed these murders.
Oh, it would have been, double murder in a quiet place like this. You can imagine the gossip, and you probably would have had the priest preaching against evils of murder and all the rest of it, and he would have used hell and damnation going to face that man. So no, it sent shockwaves throughout the community.
It would have done, yes.
And it was such a brutal murder as well, with an axe and then hanging them upside down. So.
Yes, absolutely. I should think they talked about that for weeks on end, didn't they?
They did. Should we have a look round while we're here?
Let's do that.
Our investigation of the Letheringham Mill murders and also the Potsford Wood hauntings. So Paul, how did you find it?
Actually, I found it very pleasing, to be honest with you. You picked up the murder, picked up the double hanging, which I got a bit confused at first, John, because I was getting the execution mixed up with something wasn't correct.
Yes.
But as long as we sorted it anyway, picked up the murder weapon, the axe. The name of Bell, it wasn't Snell to me, but it was Snell.
Sounds like it, absolutely.
But as best I could do, I wasn't sure, but it sounded like Bell at the time. So thanks to my guides for giving me the information.
What about you, Tina? How did you find it?
Yes, it was really fascinating to sort of see the way you've got those feelings to begin with, and you've got the voices, and you didn't want to go into the woods to begin with either, did you?
No, but also for me exactly, that's the feeling of this, the murderer, like you just didn't want to go back there.
Yes.
I think once was enough, and that was the end of that, wasn't it?
Yes.
Well, so we visited a few grisly locations, but at least we ended in the church, a place of peace.
Yes.
Well, we'll be back very soon with another ghost hunt, so see you then. Oh, and don't have nightmares. Bye bye.